Welcome everyone to Scott Talk. Today we have an awesome guest. We have Ronni Le Tekro. He was the lead guitarist and I believe founding member of the band TNT since its foundation back in 1982. TNT's released 13 studio albums, 3 EPs, several live albums as well. And Ronnie's also worked with lots of great people in various projects throughout his career. He really broke in to the music scene with their second release, Tell No Tales, big hit song, 10,000 Lovers. So, Ronnie, welcome to the show, man. I appreciate you being here so much. I'm such a huge fan of yours. So
thank you so much for putting me on the show.
You betcha. This is great. So it's late by you, huh? It's what is it? About 10:15 out there now.
So something like that in Europe, yeah, right.
Yes, where are you at?
I'm at my studio. We just had a concert here with American artist Leadfoot, Tim Scott McConnell.
Okay.
Whom I released an album with some months ago.
Yeah, I heard that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, called Death Divine.
Death Divine, yeah. I was going to ask you about that and how it all got started. I guess we'll just go into it right now.
Yeah, so he just kind of left the stage. I joined him for a couple of tracks, and yeah.
And that was just that was just tonight. You guys were just playing tonight, right?
Yeah, this was 30 minutes ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Coming on the show, you're a busy man, playing the show and then coming on.
I'm just trying to keep busy, you know, and I think times are hard for most musicians.
Yeah.
And but there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Once the vaccination project starts now, it's all going to get back into full hard rock bloom.
Yeah, can't wait, man. Can't wait. So you were born in Oslo, Norway, right?
Exactly.
I can actually share with you, I'm actually 50% Norwegian myself. My mother is full-blown Norwegian. And when I was 9 years old, I got to go to Norway to meet some relatives, and I was in Oslo.
Wow.
It was beautiful out there. I remember like 3 things the best. Everyone was super nice.
Mm-hmm.
The air was very like fresh and pure, like mountain air.
Yeah.
And almost everyone spoke English. And I was like, this is the best. I just love it.
Yeah, they do. We do. We got, decent English. I mean, there's always going to be an accent. You can tell, when I talk to you. But most people speak, I mean, at my level.
You learn it in school, right? They make
yeah,
you...
but that must have been fantastic. So congratulations, 50% Norwegian genes. I mean, that's going to take you a long way.
Yeah.
So meaning you come from true heritage of Norwegian black metal, Thor and Odin and the Viking. Everybody knows that the real Vikings came from Norway, right?
That's right. Yeah, we're badass, right?
Exactly.
So you're an amazing guitar player, and you're absolutely one of my favorite, in my top 5, maybe even my top 3.
Well, thank you so much.
And your style is so unique. Can you talk about some of your influences and how you kind of developed into that unique style? It's so fantastic.
Thank you so much for the kind words. Regarding the question, I'm thinking I come from almost like communist background, because when I started playing guitar, there was no internet, there was no books, you couldn't really. Right. But all these European hard rock bands, they came out on vinyl in Scandinavia too, in the 70s, like the whole British movement especially.
Right.
So I didn't actually hear American rock until 1979, I think, with Van Halen, and then later Journey and the Foreigner. So I kind of skipped the whole chapter. Do you know of America? I mean, we heard the Eagles and stuff like that, but especially the hard rock scene was kind of didn't exist over here. It was the European bands and the American bands, right?
Yeah.
Um, a lot of the underground British bands, I wouldn't say in hard rock, but more like power pop bands like City Boy, if you're familiar with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
The album The Day the Earth Caught Fire, produced by Robert Mutt Lang. Fantastic shit.
Yeah.
Pilot, British power pop, Queen. You know, so I was more into Bebop Deluxe, Steve Hillage, into the psychedelic shit. When it came to like North American guitar players, my favorite was always Frank Marino and Joe Walsh. And of course Van Halen, but in general those were always been my, especially Frank Marino. I adore this guy.
Yeah.
Also, of course, I've learned how to love Zach. Do you know Zach Wild? He's a true rock and roller. So
Yeah.
I'll add him to the list, and he's kind of keeping that European legacy of, do you know, those pinching fucking notes and the whole mayhem type of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, then later, do you know what? I have to mention so many American guitar players I adore. I have to say, oh, this is a hard one. Who do I adore that I didn't mention? It came from classical music, Ludwig van Beethoven, Johann Sebastian Bach.
Yeah.
This type of guys. A lot of the European and you kind of wanted to twist the blues into that classical concept. That's my concept anyway. I'm not a blues guitar player. I'm not a jazz guitar player. I'm not even a heavy metal guitar player. I think I'm just, I don't know. I do my own fucking shit.
Yeah, I mean, you incorporate so much. It sounds like so many influences all like really kind of blend in with your playing. And I wanted to ask, you've already mentioned about your classical influences, and I know at
Mm,
least on the first couple albums, you had a short classical guitar piece. Uh,
exactly.
um, the oh man, why can't I think of the names of them right now? Summer Romance, was that one of them on the first? Was that
Exactly. I think, yeah.
that is one of the most beautiful classical guitar pieces I've ever heard. I listened to that
Oh,
song
thank you.
and it just gives me goosebumps, man. It's so beautiful.
Mm. It's E minor. It's very simple. E minor, A
Is it?
minor,
Okay.
F sharp major, and back to E minor.
Look at you go. You got them all in your head. It's that's fantastic.
I think so.
So when TNT got together, well, first of all, like how did that band start? Well, we kind of skipped over a little bit of, how you got into guitar and all that. So why don't we just go back just a little bit?
Mm.
When you started playing guitar, like what age did you start playing guitar at?
Age of 10, I picked it up. And since then, it's always been there every day, kind of.
Great.
So, yeah.
All right.
And yeah, I started playing kind of folk music, singer-songwriter material, classical stuff on an island type of acoustic guitar. Then gradually, you know, got my first electric, and yeah, which was a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
right.
It was a copy of a Les Paul. There was a copy of a Les Paul. There was a copy of a Les Paul. There was a
Wow.
copy of a Stratocaster. There was a copy of a SG.
That had to be a nightmare to try to play, right? Everyone's
Yeah,
first gets guitar, you know, or the action and everything is so terrible. I
the action was terrible, but I kept it. The action was like really high, about I would say 6 millimeters. I don't know. You use a ridiculous system in America, but we use the metric system.
Yes.
6 millimeters. It's about this high
Yeah.
on
Oh
the
my. Wow.
on the 12th fret, and I always kept that. So that's kind of, I guess that's kind of the tone. It's ridiculous high action. You can ask other guitar players that checked out my guitars, but the action is extremely high.
Yeah, I had a friend message me when I told him I was having you on the show,
Mm.
and he he was at a concert of yours a while back when you had the that your black Strat with the check marks on it, you
Yeah,
know, the iconic
yeah,
TNT guitar,
yeah,
and he said you let him pick it up and play it,
yeah,
and he said the action was so high. I asked him, "How do you play this thing?" And he
yeah. I
and
remember. Yes, so way back, I remember that almost.
do you?
Yeah, I think so.
I,
Uh,
I mean, I'm a musician, nowhere
yeah,
near your standards, but you know, I can tell a difference from a guitar with nice low action. It's nice and easy to play over
yeah.
one that when the action's high, I have no chance at playing anything. It's amazing you do it that way.
It's a monster to play it, and it's never in tune. But it's, that's how I get my own sound.
So when you did you start TNT? Like you start playing guitar and then just started went on.
I was in a different band from '77 till '82 called Rockfire,
Oh,
with
that's right.
ROQUE fire, like French type of spelling. And then I joined TNT. I was asked to. TNT was four guys from four different bands in Norway that came together to just try something. So it was four different bands: Rockfire, one band called The Kids, one band called Hot Lips, and one band called Red.
Oh, wow.
so we were four, came from four different bands, and then formed TNT June '82.
Right. Was Tony in the band then, or did Tony come later?
Tony joined approximately a year and a half later. The singer left the band, and Tony joined the band.
Now, how did you guys hook up with Tony being in Norway? And I believe Tony's
Uh,
from California.
we put an ad in the magazine called Kerrang magazine, British magazine that was big on hard rock for,
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And then we got an answer from an American manager that sent us a demo tape with Tony Arnell, with his band, the Jackals from New York City.
Okay.
And he was fantastic, even on that demo, right? So
Yeah.
we invited him to come over and sing on the tracks we did for Knights of the New Thunder.
Yeah. A perfect singer for you guys.
It
Great.
was.
Great. I mean, between you and him, the talent levels, and of course your drummer Morty, not Morty. Morty's the bass player, but your
Yeah,
drummer and Morty were fantastic as well.
yeah, played pretty simple and effective. I think in many ways it wasn't so fancy, technical in many ways, but there was a lot of side turns in the arrangements. The solo would always go into different key, different arrangement almost.
Yeah.
Uh, Little things, or we would put an acoustic piece there. We would, fuck around. Sign of the times.
Yeah. I remember being at one of your concerts, and you did a little guitar solo. It wasn't like a long drawn out one. It was about maybe a minute or so. and it was phenomenal, and everyone went wild. And then
Wow.
couple songs later, Morty, your bass player, had a little. It wasn't like a bass solo technically, but he
Yeah,
had like the spotlight, where he was
yeah,
just kind of the only one playing. And I had
yeah.
just started playing bass at the time. And then, so he starts going, and I'm like, yeah. And I was like the only guy cheering for Morty at that point, Then everyone kind of, yeah, yeah, yeah. But, I was like, Morty, my guy, I
Yeah,
love.
what a fucking groove we had at the time,
Yeah, great bass player.
So, so God knows if America is ever going to see TNT again. But do you know, isn't it like we're kind of the old bands now? Do you know? I mean, they can't tour forever. Black Sabbath and Judas Priest and Scorpions and I mean, we're 10, 15 years younger. Maybe we're
Your day's coming,
in the
right?
future. Yeah, but these guys are healthy. So they're going to tour for a long time. But sometime in the future,
Yeah.
we're gonna be the oldest guys.
Yeah, definitely. We got to get you on like a huge nationally tour, act. Get you like with
Oh,
Aerosmith or something.
I would love to tour the US. So there's no question about it.
Yep. So back, so you guys released your first record, and you had a lot of success with it. When did you kind of, did you make sort of the U.S. your home at that point when Tell No Tales came out, and you're doing videos
Yeah,
for MTV?
I did. I spent, I think, maybe 5 years altogether on Long Island outside New York City. So I moved in with our kind of tour manager, private assistant, Bob Icon,
Okay.
Robert Icon, which now works for big artists, being tour managing now. I think he plays guitar with Richard Thompson from Fairport Convention,
Oh
the
wow.
band Fairport Convention. But anyway, I moved in with him and his mother. I think this was 1985, and I stayed there until 92. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So I kind of saw American daily life from the inside, and I really treasure those years, and still those American values. The regular guy in America is a brilliant dude, right?
Yeah.
What these politicians or whatever do around us, there's no difference.
Yeah.
And it's hard rock that keeps us all together, from Japan to America to Europe, everywhere. Uh,
Definitely.
who do you want to fight for? I'll fight for hard rock. I'll fight for AC/DC and fucking the name of hard rock. I won't fight for any nation, but I'll fight for hard rock. I'll tell you that.
Right. What were some of the challenges, if there were any, of being, mostly a band? Well, Tony was from the United States, but
He came from San Diego. Yeah, he lived in New York when we met the first time.
okay, yeah. So you guys get out to America, and three of you are Norwegian, and one of you isn't. But was there any challenges that bands kind of you jammed with or anything, or?
It would be that there were cultural differences. Of course, he came at the time from a society that was much more developed than Norway at the time. At the same time, just like you, he came in and he saw the kind of innocence, and he got the fresh air, and
Yeah.
so I think he treasured that, and he spent a lot of time here, a lot of time of his life to accommodate this band and be a part of this band. So I highly respect that.
Yeah. Um, with your songwriting, how do you approach songwriting? Because I mean, you have just some of the most iconic guitar riffs, like "Downhill Racer." I mean, that song, the just the
For
the
instance, I'll show you how I approach the songwriting. If you said to me, write a riff, and I would say, bam, patakatom, pakam, putotom, papapapapam, rakakam, bam, putopapam, bam, rapapam, takapapam. I make them in my head, then I transfer them over to my guitar. So it always starts when I'm driving in my car, or a lot of times if I take a walk, and then I have the little recorder, and I just write. Of
wow.
course, they could be more advanced harmonically, but I just have to show you. Just it could be it's just got to be instinct, you know. So I go after those ideas, and it doesn't have to be a riff. It can be a melody or a chorus idea. Uh, I don't have a recipe actually.
Yeah, a good musician when they can hear it here and then get it there, you know.
I think
That's
that's the best. That's the best way, if you can kind
yeah.
of work on that. At the same time, when you play in a band, you probably had that feeling, and you're playing your bass, and the groove is going, and it becomes extraterrestrial almost. You know, it's like the third entity.
Yeah.
It's that energy that makes all of us sound good at the same time when we play. That's we like to call that the third entity here. When we
Okay.
It's
That's
like an outside friend that gives energy to the music as you play, right?
yeah.
Uh,
Great way of
and,
looking at
and that's the type of friend you got to be looking for.
it. When you guys were touring back in the day, first 3, 4 albums, who were some of the bands you get played with that you had the most fun touring with?
Uh, in Europe, we toured with several bands, Hanoi Rocks.
Oh, love them.
Those were cool guys, but in the States, I would say by far the band we had the most fun with was the guys from Twisted Sister, with D especially.
Yeah.
That at the time was my big brother, you know, a guy that I highly respect and adore. You know, he was a little bit older when he was the guy that presented the TNT to Freefall Talent Group with the manager Mark Puma, and that, you know. So he was kind of the big brother of TNT,
Wow.
and he was always that, and he still is. You know, he was at our anniversary concert some years ago, um, almost 10 years ago,
Y- You
5
know,
years ago.
5 years.
Yeah.
The first concert I ever went to, like full arena, was
Mm,
Iron Maiden Power Slave tour
wow.
with Twisted Sister opening up, and
Mm,
I was seventh row center because my friend had tickets, and he was going to bring someone else, and they bailed, and they called me at the last minute. I was just a kid, but
yeah.
it was fantastic.
I, yeah, I think that like Twisted, they were like pure fucking hard rock metal
Yeah,
in a sense. It was like the Rolling Stones of heavy metal. That was Twisted Sister.
yeah. Any fun stories you can share for the tours or anything without
Oh,
getting anyone in trouble?
they were so sober. D doesn't drink, never has, never will. Do you know? I was a boring guy. I was watching Little House on the Prairie after the shows. The
Wow,
series, TV series.
really?
Uh, yeah, I watched 176 episodes out of 184 of Little House on the Prairie.
Holy cow! I remember that show.
Oh, so,
That was
so
that's-
in the 80s and 90s, we kind of did the shows. Then I went back to my hotel room and kept on writing more music. So I didn't attend the party scene or anything like that, really. But maybe I should have, do you know?
well.
Uh,
Well, as long as you stayed clean, maybe, but that would be hard, right? You
I
know.
didn't stay clean. I didn't say that, but
But no,
but it was I was just generally interested, more interested in writing music than partying, and I've
yeah,
always been so.
yeah. I think partying and drugs end up ruining too many good bands. There's probably. I'll just leave it there. It's a terrible thing that happens with the drugs. I'm glad we have.
I think the drugs, that's so much that could be the paracetamol you, you put in your brain, for headaches.
Yeah.
In general, I never tried drugs, cocaine, heroin, opium, amphetamine. The list is long. But I'll defend some glasses of wine, and people that smoke cannabis. I will defend that because that's not the evil brother. That's not the problem of society here, right?
Right. Yeah.
But in general, I think the whole like in Norway, 70% of the drugs that they sell in Norway, that's prescription drugs that come from doctors, that's being sold secondhand on the streets. I guess you
Oh.
have the same problem in the States, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it kind of gets out there legally slash, right? And then it kills people.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
the opioid stuff, and yeah.
if it's white, it's shite.
Hey, do you mind just real quick? I've got some shout outs I got to do, and the new subscribers to my show, and then some other people that just wanted me to
I think
mention.
we're reaching towards the end, but let's do those. Are you ready?
Real quick, man. Real quick. I'll get them done as fast as I can. I got Dan Laswicki. Thank you, brother. Renee Scroggin, Tina Harrison, Tim, Brian Stoneman, Dino Alden, Pino Ferreira, Alina Skiba, Tim Collins, Chris Young said, Heidi Schwint, Tina Marie Kelly, Michael King, Lee Stokes, Don Rose. Thank you all guys so much for supporting the show and hanging out. All right.
Fuck, you're good. Wow, you're treating these people cool, and a lot of cool names too. They all
Yeah.
sounded like rock stars.
Yeah. My brother Keith, he texted me before our interview here and said, if you can work it in, man, please tell Ronnie I love TNT, and because he was the one that got me into you guys. He's my older
Oh,
brother. So three
oh,
and a
thank you. Tell your brother, oh, that warms my heart.
he told me he listened to the TNT Tell No Tales tape every day for a year.
Wow,
He had to buy two of them.
that it was a fucking masterpiece, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. I thought that was gonna blow up. I'm like, this is gonna be the biggest band in the world. These guys are so great, and
I
you
think
oh
we kind of did it. I think we kind of did it again with the 2004's album, My Religion, if you've heard that one.
yes,
I think they were really touching it there, right?
yeah. In fact, yeah, I that it had been a while, right? Since about what
Yeah,
98.
16 years now.
Well, yeah, since now, yeah. But when that album came out, it was it had
So let's see. Maybe in the future, if there's a record company with enough money, we'll go in and make an album with the original lineup.
yeah. Man, I wish I had the enough money. I'd pay for you guys. I'd pay for you guys.
Check with your brother. He can call the bank.
Okay.
There's a zero. There's a minus 5% interest now. So if you borrow money, they have to pay you for borrowing money.
Okay. So my brother's getting me in trouble here. See, I
Oh, no,
mentioned.
but really bring my regards to him, and TNT forever. What can I say?
Uh,
Um I hope to come back to America someday in the future and visit all my friends and play. I would love to even go on a club tour, you know, with whatever project.
Yeah. Any chances? I mean, what are the plans for? Is there going to be another TNT album someday? Do you think? Or
I think I don't know, but definitely we'll be touring and continue touring for
okay.
next year. It's TNT's 40th anniversary.
Yeah. Wow. Think about the
So we're
40th.
doing that. We're yeah, 40th. Then it's 40 years. Not
Wow.
next year, the year after. I mean,
Oh
2022.
yeah, 2022. Yeah. Yeah. Geez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Time
time flies. So God help us all.
Can I ask you a very a technical guitar question I got from my good friend DJ? Um, I asked him because he's a very good guitarist, and I asked him to give me a like a guitar geek question for you, and I'm not sure if I wrote it right, but I'm gonna try. So see if you can understand me here. Um, the question is, how do you approach guitar solo writing that are in multiple voices? You don't seem to layer a harmony over the top of a solo. You seem to employ a classical voice leading. Some examples of the solo would be listen to your heart and then tell no tales.
I think I get what he means. I think that it's kind of, I try to find a counter line, and it's often from a classical point of view. And then gradually I try to voice those chords around that, or vice versa. Um, so what you hear is kind of two ways, because when I do a solo, sometimes I can go in and change the entire ground note or the chord to kind of give a different impression, even though it's after I've done the solo. So I don't know. I don't intellectualize that much about my guitar playing, but I can say it's schizophrenic in the way that I can play do 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 do. So
Yeah.
in other words, it's very it's not very logical. So that's why I'm trying. That's my way of thinking anyway. So it's very, where I look for inspiration is actually in the abstract, absurd. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you listen to a lot of my solos, they're pretty absurd. Then I go into them and orchestrate them, my own absurdity, or whatever you can call it. That's the best explanation I can give anyway.
Yeah. I love when you pick really fast, man. I you must have like the fastest picking hand I've ever heard. Like invisible noise, right?
Yeah.
The first little guitar solo you get right after like the first chorus, where you're just like, and
Yeah.
that was on My
I
Religion,
remember
right?
it.
Was that My
Yeah,
Religion?
I
Or
hope I can do. Hope I can do it the next years. I'm
oh
getting older.
no, man, you'll never lose that. You're the best, man. No,
I'm holding out.
I just remember thinking it was a while since My Religion came out, a period of maybe 4 or 5 years. I don't remember though,
Mm.
but my brother and I were discussing. Like my brother was the one that actually pointed out. It's like this was their first song in a long time, and the first chance Ronnie gets to be like, "Hey, here I am," and he's just shredding, and it was just like, "Yeah, man, we loved it. We love it."
Cool.
You have a favorite TNT song or TNT album? And
Favorite TNT song, TNT album. I would say it's hard to get away from Tell No Tales, but I think, and there's different chapters of TNT, but I would say Tell No Tales and My Religion with the Tony Arnell lineup.
yeah,
And I would say with the Tony Mills years, we released an album called Atlantis, which I thought was pretty, had some depth to it.
yeah. Thanks so much for your time today, man. I know you got to get back to the studio and get back to work or whatever you got to do. It's late at night, man. This has
But
been
it's good. And
great.
you got my secret number, right?
I
So
do
you can
have your
always
secret number.
just give me a call or send me a message. Okay, my friend.
You got it, man. Thank you so much, Ronnie.
So I'll and also I'll fill you in on what I'm doing. My solo works and you know.
Yeah, if you want to send me some links and stuff, I could put them all in the description
I
of the
I
video.
I will send you some links and also maybe feed some shit before it's out. Do you know what I mean? So thank you so much for a nice interview. You're a very nice journalist, my man.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I'm sure your show is gonna have listeners.
Yes,
And to all my American friends, I fucking love you.
Ronnie the Wizard.
Okay,
All right,
the
buddy.
wizard. Thank you for a nice interview, and this was an in-depth, really cool.
Really cool.
Not many people get me to talk for 30 minutes.
I
Okay, my man.
I appreciate it, buddy. Take care. Keep in touch, okay?
Take care. You too. Bye.
All right. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.